Thank you for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast with me, Logan Lee Miller. Enjoy the show. Happy New Year! Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that 2024 is finally here. In some ways, 2023 was so good to me, right? So many amazing, happy things happened. And on the other hand, 2023 was kind of hectic. It was a lot. We were busy. And I am so excited to welcome 2024. I appreciate you listening. I guess, the Golden Hour Drip podcast is coming with you in the new year. So thank you so much for being a supporter and a listener of the show. I am so excited, really and truly. The fact that the first of year 2024 starts on a Monday, okay, and in December, okay, so 12/31/23, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Are you kidding me? Into January 1st. It's a Monday. It's everything. This is going to be a beautiful year. I am so excited. Okay. I know that you're excited. And I mean, it's the best reset that there could possibly be, right? The first of the year is my Super Bowl. This is what I wait for. This is, the cream of the crop. Okay. I wiped down my little calendar board. I did not buy a journal. Okay, I will say we are growing as a person because there was 3 times that I walked through Walmart. I was like, okay, grab my groceries or whatever. And I went past the, pens and markers and journals and Post-it notes. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the year that I'm not going to get a journal because although I've been a pen and paper girly, I've been utilizing, my digital calendar so much, and I love that it notifies me 30 minutes before the actual event happens, or sometimes I'll set it for an hour depending on drive time. I've been scheduling drive time in there. It has been so imperative for my being on timeness and not being late, so I've been loving that. And I did not purchase any new notebooks. I did not purchase a new calendar. So I'm very proud of myself. I always have this feeling that new pens and new stationery is going to make me feel so good. It's that instant gratification of, it's newness and I purchased it and it's the endorphins. But I honestly, I bought 2 new notebooks I think 3 or 4 weeks ago when I cleaned my office, got everything, straightened out because I had filled up 2 notebooks, one for work and one for, Golden Hour Drip and all of the things. And so I already have the notebooks that I've been utilizing. And I'm really trying to reduce the amount of stuff that I have or the amount of just random notebooks and being more intentional with my spending and also what I'm actually writing down. But I've been loving my digital calendar. So I did not buy a new calendar. I was like, oh my gosh, this is growth, baby. This is personal growth. If you bought new pens and a new journal, I'm so happy for you. I'm jealous of you for sure. But yeah, that was something different that going into 2024, I did not purchase new pens. I do not have a new calendar. I will say back in October or November or whenever they announced the Sports Illustrated swimsuit calendar, I did purchase that. My girl Katie Austin, I love her. This was the calendar that she was in, so I did purchase that. I have that one. We're putting it up for January, okay? But for a flat planner, I didn't purchase a new one, okay? That's me, just growing. I'm not in school anymore, so I don't necessarily have to write down what the professor says. It's all digital, okay? If I'm making my appointments for, my facial or my hairdresser or whatever, it's going in my digital calendar. I'm getting reminders, and it's been helping me not be late. So with that, we're going to get into the peaks and the pits. Now, every episode or every Monday episode, I try to do a peak and a pit of the week. This week, it's going to be a little different because I wanted to have my peak and my pit of 2023 And this is kind of like a summary, right? And when I was brainstorming this, I was like, really, am I going to condense down my year this much into like one peak and one pit? And honestly, like I threw a couple more in there. So this is a synopsis of my 2023 year. Obviously, if you're a listener, you know this, okay? And maybe you could even guess it. But my peak of the year of 2023 is, I put three things. The number one thing is connection. I feel like 2023, I've had so much connection with people and just the events that I've gone to. I made it a priority to meet new people, to broaden my network. And with that, I started the Golden Gal Network, and meeting new friends and collaborating with people has been so much fun. I cannot wait to see how the Golden Gal Network grows in 2024, how the podcast grows with that. So connection was a huge one. In turn with that would be finding more about myself. And I feel like I really had to dissect my life in 2023 and thinking about the things that I wanted, and even so, like knowing what I didn't want, like making sure that I was like, okay, I do not want this. I might not have known in that moment what direction I was heading or what I wanted to replace that, but I knew very definitively that is something that I didn't want. And learning that about myself has been so empowering to just be like, okay, I thought I wanted this. I don't want it anymore, you know? And like moving past that and moving on to that, it's like, I'm excited to learn more about myself in 2024 and questioning the things that I've always done. Like, am I just doing these things because it's routine or it's habit? And can I, push the envelope? Can I try something different? Do I have to stick with this habit or this routine because it's comfortable? Or how can I change it? What can I challenge myself to do differently? And I wish I had a word of the year yet, but I don't. And I can't honestly remember the year of 2023, the word that I picked. And it just kind of revealed itself, I guess. The word of the year for 2023 for me was connection. And it revealed itself. I don't think that's the one that I picked. And honestly, I would have to go through like my old journals or even like an old podcast to see what like word I actually picked. But slowly, like it summarized of, okay, it was connection. And that's what I want to do for 2024. I'm going to keep an open mind in January. I saw this like TikTok. It was like, the first of the year is not the new year. It's like January 1st is not the new year. It said March is the new year because winter solstice has just started. She was probably being serious, but for me, I just took it as January, February, March is so hard for some people to get motivated to work on their goals. A lot of people will pick their expectations for themselves. January 1st, I'm gonna lose 100 pounds. I'm going to make $1 million. I am going to, do X, Y, Z with all of their things. And then they lose the momentum after week 2 and they're like, maybe next year, or they don't have the energy, they don't have the skills or even the habits, routines set up that they can fall back on to then like push forward and accomplish their goals. So for me, I'm like, okay, like I totally get what she meant, because March is like spring and people start to get excited about the promise of summer and being warmer outside and hanging out, and that's when like the momentum starts for some of their habits. So I totally got what she meant by like, okay, January, February, the first of the year is not the new year. It's not until March when, springtime hits. And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of going to take that and make it my own for like the word of the year. I'm going to mull over January and I'm just going to let it reveal itself to me. And it might be until June or July that I have a better understanding of what I'm supposed to learn in this year and what I'm supposed to, find out about myself and about others in this new chapter, in this new era. So I'm so excited. But yes, the peak of my 2023 was definitely, finding new friends, new connections, expanding my network, and finding so much about myself that I didn't know in 2022. And I'm excited to continue to grow that area in 2024, which brings me to my pit of 2023. And I have two. One's kind of funny and one's more serious. The pit of 2023 was the amount of weddings Garrett and I had to go to. Well, I love my friends and family, and I'm so happy that they, found the one that they wanted to marry, and they are, happy, and I got married in 2020. So I had that time, and I want them to have that time too, like that excitement, and to have the same energy around their wedding like I had for my own wedding, right? And I did that. And the pit of it was, oh my gosh, this was so much time, energy, and money, right? Like, my very best friend Andrew got married, and two of our cousins got married, three of our cousins got married, and then miscellaneous friends. Like, it was just so much. Every single weekend we were either at someone's wedding or at someone's bridal shower or at someone's bachelorette, and it seriously took so much time, energy, and money away from me. I love it. I would not take it back for the world. I absolutely had so much fun. So many amazing memories were made. But I'm looking forward to 2024 having like one or two weddings. Like, it was insane. We had like 10 weddings this past year, and they were all like big, important people, big, important weddings, like very close family, very close friends. And I honestly, it was a lot. So that was definitely and I'm so happy for my friends and my family. Like, those weddings were beautiful. It was so much fun to be there. It's just the energy around it. And it was the fact that they were one after another, and it was so much. I know this is the time of my, life. All of my friends are at that age where we want to get married. And you know what? I'm looking forward to the weddings that we have scheduled in 2024. But I know a lot were crossed off the list because they happened in 2023. The other pit of my 2023 was hard conversations. I had to have so many difficult and uncomfortable conversations with people in order to set boundaries or start on the path that I wanted to start and not the path that they wanted me to be on. I am not keen on confrontation, okay? Like, I don't like to make someone else feel bad. I want to support them in the best way that I can. And overall, I am a very empathetic person. So it's difficult when someone is asking something of me, or they're expecting something, or I've delivered in the past in a certain way, and now I feel like through this conversation, something has changed for me, and I have to make the other person aware of that. It is so difficult. I have dreaded so many of these conversations, but as soon as they were done, oh my gosh, the amount of relief that I felt of I'm no longer living a lie, right? Because when we are avoiding confrontation, when we are avoiding talking to someone about something so important, it's usually because we've mulled over the problem for weeks and months. And we have thought this back and forth, and should we bring it up, or should we just press on and not worry about it, and it'll be okay, we can struggle a little bit longer, this person really needs us, in comparison to I'm putting myself first. This is no longer serving me. This is no longer for me. And it's not helping either one of us if I'm halfway in, halfway out, and you're expecting me to be full in. That's not going to work. So having those really difficult conversations and, relying on my voice to speak what I'm saying. It wasn't always a strong voice, right? My voice might have cracked. I might have been crying when I was trying to convey what my message or what I was trying to get across. So there was definitely times where my voice, failed me in those ways. but my body pressed on. Like I got it out. Like I might have had to repeat myself. I might have had to come back to the conversation, but it was really important to me to set those boundaries and to let the other person know that it wasn't working for me. In the past, I've had such people-pleasing tendencies that I just wanted to like glaze over it. It was fine. Like, don't worry about it. I'll pick up the slack. I'll do it. I'm so good. I won the pat on the back. And in 2023, I really was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. Like, this is really internally like wrecking me, okay? Like, and I didn't want to emotionally be involved with a couple things, and I had to sever the ties. I had to say, you know what, like this is not working for me. And I will tell you, if you are struggling with this, if you're going into 2024 and there are some conversations that you really need to have with someone and you're not necessarily like confident enough to do it yet, if you have been so worried or, you know, on the fence of should I do this, should I not do this, how will the other person feel, know that you're not alone. So many people go through this, right? Even the person you are having to have this hard conversation with, they might have had to have a hard conversation with someone too, right? Like, and everyone can empathize with that conversation and how it can be uncomfortable for both people. But I promise you, as soon as you start the conversation, it's going to become easier to deliver your message. It's going to be easier to speak what is on your mind, to tell them the problem, to tell them what is or is not working for you so that you can move forward and you can clear out those negative, bad feelings. Negative as in like, okay, you feel kind of uneasy about like talking about it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad situation. It might just be not what you want anymore, and having to tell that person, hey, I don't want this anymore, that can be difficult. Okay, so or negative, like it's a toxic situation. Either way, it's your situation. But to actually just say, hey, like I'm ready to do something different, doing that and getting it over with, ripping off the band-aid is so freeing. And then you can start doing the things that you actually want to be doing. You can make way for the positive energy, for the new thoughts, for the new ideas to come, and make way for the next chapter of your life. And really and truly, the dream life that you are waiting for, the thing that you want so much in the world, is behind the hard conversation. As soon as you can sit someone down who is, you know, in the way of your dream, of your happiness, of all the things, as soon as you can do that, the faster you can start on doing the things that you love, faster on, you know, researching for that new job or researching for the new hobby or what you want to do, or maybe a new friendship, a new relationship. But I promise you, as soon as you shed that heaviness, you're going to feel so much lighter. You're going to feel so much better. And although it's kind of like double-sided, like that was a pit. Like I had to have several very hard pivoting conversations with people, and that conflict was hard, but it ended up being the best thing for me because I was able to then start on the path that I wanted to start on, to actually realize that that boundary I set in place was now the protection I needed to go off and do what I felt in my heart to do. So it was a down, but once you're down, right, like in the pit, rock bottom, you've had the conversation, they know your truth, now you can start climbing, now you can start going to, you know, the journey or the dream that you're wanting to do. So those were my peaks and my pits of 2023. It's kind of difficult to sum up a whole year in just like 2 little categories. There was definitely so much more that I learned and that I did. But really and truly, those were my highlights. Okay. Those were the top of the top. I have so much excitement for the upcoming year. I have been journaling, I've been writing in a journal that I already had, but you know, I have been writing down my ideas, and I've been just really not even prepping. Like I wish I could say that I was really prepping for things, but I've kind of just allowed this easiness to come into my life, and the fact that if something is meant to be, it will be. And I really learned also in 2023 that I want things instantaneously, and sometimes I have to learn the tools to help me in the next step. Definitely like a Dora the Explorer situation. We have to find the hammer before we can like build the house. So it's definitely like taught me a little bit about patience and knowing that all the things that are meant for me will come to me. And I've just kind of been doodling and writing down some ideas and letting them come to me, and not necessarily like being so structured around it. There's definitely some years past where I've been like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna hit the ground running, and kind of like overwhelming myself with all these ideas that I had, instead of just, you know, taking it step by step. I've journaled a little bit. I've taken my whiteboard, I've wiped it down. A huge thing that I did in preparation, even though I'm not really prepping, I cleared out my cell phone of all of my photos. If you are a longtime listener of this podcast, you know that I am a photograph hoarder. I love photos. I love keeping them. I love taking them, documenting every single area of my life. I have had so many photos on my phone. So much so that my phone is slowing down and it keeps saying I'm out of storage. I've had to buy Google iCloud storage, all the things. And I'm so happy to say that with the help of my Christmas present, a 2 terabyte external hard drive, I was able to transfer over 17,000 photos from my phone, and it's completely cleared out. I cannot tell you how happy I am to have it all on the hard drive, and starting 2024, like clean slate, clean cell phone. I have been I've had photos on my phone like transferred throughout high school. Like I transferred them to college. When you get a new phone, you have the option to like transfer everything, and it's a hassle and it's a lot. You transfer your contacts, you transfer your photos. And I just remember like in high school, I had wrecked my phone, right? Like I had one time my cow stepped on it. Another time like I dropped it and cracked it on some concrete. And sometimes like my phone, I would be able to like pull it open and still like send photos or texts, and sometimes like it was blacked out screen. And I just remember so many times hoping and praying like my photos would transfer over, because those were my memories and everything was digital, and you didn't have like a camera lens, like a film roll where you would go and take them and get them developed. And I didn't have that like when I got a phone. Like there was no need to borrow my mom's camera or anything. So I have had like this kind of attachment to my phone and the photos, and it has been so freeing to be like, okay, they're all on an external drive. I don't have to worry about them anymore. I downloaded my freshman, sophomore, and junior photos from college onto little CDs. So the last thing I need to do to fully feel like untethered from these photos is to take those CDs and transfer freshman, sophomore, and junior year in college to the backup drive, and then boom, it's done. It's like I have had the past 7 years condensed down into a nice little drive, and it'll be easier to then print photos off because I don't have to wait for my phone to upload and download them. They're all already going to be on the hard drive. So that has been so good for me to just like move forward. I'm like, yes, like the cell phone is cleared and I don't have to worry about like a million videos or photos, because I feel like in college I definitely like overtook photos. I took multiple photos. I was always trying for that like perfect Instagram worthy photo, and now I'm at the point where I want quality over quantity. I don't want a million selfies on there or a million like by my selfies where it's just like a photo of myself with slightly different angles. I would rather focus on memories with my family and my friends, and maybe taking one or two, and not necessarily having like, okay, there's literally no joke, like 50 photos of me standing, in a coffee shop holding a book trying to get that perfect photo. So I've been able to just like release some of that feeling of, oh my gosh, like all my selfies. Cause then I feel bad when I have to go through them like all at once, when my storage is like screaming at me on my cell phone. It's like, you're out of storage. You can't receive text. You can't do anything. And I'm like, I XOXO love this. No, I don't. I hate it. Or I'd like offload apps on my phone. So it has been so nice. All the photos have been kicked off. I'm feeling so good. New phone, new year, who's this? But it's my same phone. But, you know, I got a new phone case, so I feel like it's a new phone. My storage is empty, and I don't have to pay for iCloud anymore, and it's my intention to offload photos like every 6 months, right? Like, oh, let's hop some over to the jump drive, or let's print some out, instead of, okay, we have like a massive amount of photos on my phone, and at one point in time, like, my iCloud storage was full, and it was like, it hasn't backed up in 27 weeks. And I'm like, cool. If I drop my phone in some water, which I am apt to do, I'm going to lose all those photos. So it's just like this very freeing, amazing thing that I was able to accomplish in 2023. And like, hey, like, we got this done. We are ready to move forward and move on. And I could not be more excited. Honestly, like, that was the cherry on top to my entire year. Way over like decluttering the house, or, you know, transferring or getting all my Christmas stuff up. Oh my gosh, like, it is so fun to get my Christmas stuff out. I had a blast with Vlogmas this year, and decorating and buying decor and just having fun with the Christmas season. Okay, I enjoyed it. 2023 Christmas was the best Christmas I've had in preparation. Like, it was the first year I allowed myself to feel like a homeowner with my decor. But packing it up, are you kidding me? It was so sucked. It sucked. Okay, that's the word for it. It was absolutely atrocious. I bubble wrapped every single one of our ornaments. I got new like organizing boxes. I put all of them in there. We got some big ornaments that look beautiful on the tree, but don't fit in the nice little organizing boxes. So then I had to put them in other boxes. And when that was all complete, when I had finally got my house cleaned and everything picked up, that felt good. It did. It felt good. I got the floors vacuumed. Everything was clean, and, you know, it felt good about starting the new year. But I will tell you, kicking off all my photos and having my phone clean felt a million times better. No joke. Like, I love a clean house. I love it when the things are deep cleaned and it feels so good. But I honestly, like, I was like, oh my gosh, my phone being clean is top notch. I will say there are still, like, I'll probably, you know, continue to declutter, continue to make way for the new in the 2024, especially when spring comes around. You guys know I love to do a spring cleaning, but honestly, I'm kind of, like I said, taking some tips from that woman who said the new year doesn't start until March. I'm really wanting January and February for me to just like feel it out, to do what feels good and not to have so much pressure on myself, because I've had some pressure on myself with weddings and with, you know, trying to get my vlogs out. And while I love those like moments of pushing myself and having the overdrive kick in, like, okay, we got to get this done, we're doing all the things, I also think it's so important for rest, and also to allow yourself to have the space and time to brainstorm and to kind of weed out the things that you don't want to do anymore and focus on the things that you want to expand on. So I really am excited for that. But, you know, time will only tell for how January and February go. Next week I might be like, oh my gosh, actually, like, I wanted to start this insane challenge, which in years past I've done it. Like, I feel like every single year I have had like such like intense thoughts around the New Year's, because like I said, it is my Super Bowl. I love the new year. I love the fresh starts. I love the newness of it all. It makes me feel good. And this is the first year that I'm not like going balls to the wall. This is what I have to do. This is what I'm accomplishing. This is what I'm putting on my plate. I have XYZ. I'm starting, you know, on January 1, so 1/1/24. and this is the first year that I'm like, okay, like I have some intentions, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like all, okay, we have to accomplish, we have to be perfect on day 1, day 2, and for 365, like we have to be perfect every day. So that's not my intention this year. It's to feel it out and see, do I like this? Do I not like this? And carefully guide myself, letting my intuition guide me into the new year for sure. Hey, I hope that you're enjoying today's podcast episode. Just a quick interruption to let you know that Golden Hour Drip has a weekly newsletter that comes out. This has bonus content, weekly updates, and future event information. If you haven't already, go down to the show notes, click the link, and join today. Now, back to the show. Honestly, maybe intention is going to be my word of the year, because this entire podcast episode, I've been talking about like just trusting myself and not really having like super strict, oh my gosh, so this is our goal for 2024. Like in years past, I've done the 75 hard, or maybe I've done like a dry January, or any sort of like challenge right out the gate of the new year, which sometimes like I love that motivation, I love that energy and everything, but this time around I'm just kind of prepping my body to support it, my mental health, my physical health, and not really like this expectation that I need to be 100% perfect, because I think I've definitely set myself up for failure in years past where I'm like, okay, like we have to do all these things. This is a new year to prove ourselves to be absolutely perfect. And this year, that's not really my intention. I just want to trust myself and trust that the universe and God is going to take care of me, and I am going to be led down the path that is right for me. Maybe it's not the path I would expect. Maybe I need to pick up my hammer and nails, right, before I'm building the house. But yeah, just really being intuitive. I still want to connect with people, but maybe, January, February, after brainstorming a little bit, my word of the year, which I put a lot of like emphasis around my word of the year. I'm a girly who loves themes and things to fit in a cute little box. So that's why I'm like putting so much emphasis on a word of the year, because I like having a goal. I like having like an overarching goal. Maybe you don't like a word of the year, that's okay. That is perfectly fine. But I wanted to talk about a couple things that I have been doing to kind of get me in the right headspace for 2024, but not in an overarching, like we have to be so strict and do all these things and put up the sticky notes and have this really strict, regimented schedule. It's not how I've been taking my approach with 2024. Maybe it's the fact that my brain is finally fully developed, being 25, right? And I'm just thinking about, last year, my worry, my fear for 2023 was the fact that I was going to turn 25, and I was really worried. Oh my gosh, I only have 6 months until I turn 25. And I had like a bunch of overarching expectations of myself that had to be successful in so many ways. So I'm very excited that this year I have a different mentality around the new year. So here are a couple things to help you get in the mind space for the new year. Maybe you have a strict regimen that you are going to be started for yourself, or maybe you've done resolutions in the past and they've failed, and you're kind of feeling burnt out about a new year, which is horrible. Okay, like I feel like a new year is supposed to have so much good vibes and just really lightheartedness around it. It's a clean slate, and you can't have the pressure of messing up the slate, like, oh, there's one bad mark, like your new journal that you probably bought yourself. I've always felt like, okay, the first page of my new journal has to be perfect. Like if I am starting a journal for a certain time period in my life, that first page, it is perfect penmanship, okay? And if I mess up and I misspell a word, Sometimes I like quickly and carefully extract that first page and rewrite the first page again. And then after like a week or so, my handwriting would get sloppy. I'd want to write something down so quick and get that thought across. And then I'd become disheartened because now I've just ruined my first and my best notebook of the year. And you can't have that sort of pressure on yourself going into the new year. It is not something that needs to remain perfected. You are going to make mistakes in this upcoming year. You are going to fall off the bandwagon, fall off track of your goals, and that's okay. It's not the fact that we shouldn't fall off or fail in our journey or our things that we're trying to achieve. That's not the point. The point is, how do we course correct? How do we come back to it? How do we react to the mistake or the failure that we had? That's truly like what you need to prep yourself for in the new year. It's not, oh my gosh, I have to remain perfect. I'm gonna remain perfect. It's, what am I gonna do if I fail? What am I gonna do on week 3 or 4 when I have this expectation or goal for myself and I didn't quite reach it, I didn't quite make it? It's that course correction. It's not, hey, I can't be perfect. It's, how are we gonna come back from this imperfection? So these are things that I like to do to just help course correct or even get in the right mindset for a new year, or even a Monday. Like I love Mondays. That's why the Golden Hour Drip posts on Mondays, because it's my favorite day of the week. I get to, have a fresh start essentially. And I always think that going for a walk or getting any sort of movement in is gonna put you in a better headspace. I have not been super consistent with my walking pad. It has been, this thing that I've been trying to so hard get my steps in. I think it's important for your overall health to walk, to move your body, and it's low impact. It's all the good things. So I know I always feel so much better after a little bit of movement. Studies show that after like a brisk walk, the neurons in your brain, I'm not a scientist, but they say that the brain is more active after a walk, and I want to be in a higher energy. I want to be completely, ready for the next task. I want to be in a positive mindset. So I know that going for a walk before journaling, or even before taking on a meeting, or before a stressful day, if you know that you have something coming up and there's a lot of pressure around it, because pressure is not bad and expectations are not bad. And it's just learning how to balance against that craziness, and a brisk walk always does it for me. If you want to have any sort of outline for your year, I love doing a vision board. This is actually psycho. I cleared out my Pinterest boards completely. So all of my boards from like 2012, when I first got a Pinterest, I cleared out all of them. I deleted every single one, because what I found is on my Pinterest boards, I was getting a lot of, like suggested for you content that was something that I pinned when I was, in middle school or a freshman in college, and it wasn't anything that I necessarily aligned with. And what I did, because it's overwhelming, you're like, okay, I have these old boards. Should I put this really cute photo of a girl, right? Like, it's very inspirational. She looks so cute, little boots, or her haircut is nice and her makeup is nice, and I love her sweater. Do I now pin it under outfits? Do I pin it under haircuts? Do I pin it over, like, how do you pin something that you like different areas of it? And what I've done to help, erase the pressure, to help me be in a more creative mind space than a perfection mind space, is I made a board that's labeled 2024, and anything that I like is going on that board. You might think that's messy, but for me, it's an aesthetic of the year. If I find a, cute girl with cute clothes, I'm gonna pin it there. If I find a recipe I want, I'm gonna pin it there. It does not matter. It is 2024. It's a vibe. It is everything, whether it's nails, a haircut, a new recipe, any of the things. That for me is like a dream board, right? Like your Pinterest page is so much inspiration, and I love scrolling Pinterest. I will scroll Pinterest more than I will scroll Instagram. And sometimes when like TikTok isn't doing it for me, I go onto Pinterest. If I see a TikTok that has been like very inspiring, and it's, let's take bows for example. Bows are very, very in right now. I put bows on my tree this year. I love bows. I think that they're so cute. I heard something that was like, bows are Gen Z's version of the mustache, the millennial mustache, and that kind of made me sad. But I love bows. They're so girly, they're so cute. So if I see something on TikTok that's like bow oriented, I'm like, okay, that's so cute. I'll go to Pinterest and I'll be like, bows. Just show me some bows, and I could pin that to my 2024 board, and that's an aesthetic that, you know, I can scroll through it. And once you start curating your board, right, for 2024, it's going to start suggesting more content like that to you. So I did that. I wanted to dream board. I wanted to kind of have parameters around the vibe I wanted for 2024. I also think that visualization is so important for your goals and for your life. I remember being in like middle school, or when did I got my braces like 8th grade. Or 7th or 8th grade, I got braces. I can't remember now. I think it was the end of 7th grade, beginning of 8th grade year. I got braces, and my teeth, honestly, like, they were something. I'll tell you that. I had an overbite, I had an overjet, I had misalignment on one side, and my teeth were definitely the teeth of a child who had there were some teeth that weren't wiggly. I'm very competitive as a child. And I remember my sister Caitlin and I were a month apart. Caitlin's my stepsister, but you know, all of my siblings, we all grew up together. And there's never been a time in my life where I didn't have my siblings. So Caitlin and I are a month apart, and with our you know, stages of girlhood, Caitlin, I remember I lost one of my front teeth, and Caitlin also lost one of her front teeth. And our second one, right, when you lose one tooth, the second tooth becomes like a little looser too. And I remember her second tooth that she was about to lose was more wiggly than my tooth, and it was more apt to fall out quicker than mine. And I remember being so competitive, thinking, oh my gosh, I am gonna get this tooth out. And she lost her tooth, and I was like, that night, I was like, I want to be like Caitlin. We are going to have both our teeth out, because I'm pretty sure like Christmas was coming around. I think it was like October, November, and there's a song, All I Want for Christmas Is My Two Front Teeth. And I was like, I want to be cute like Caitlin. Caitlin's gonna sing it, and everyone's gonna think she's so cute because she doesn't have her front teeth. And I was jealous. I was like, I'm getting my tooth out too. And I remember just like pushing so hard on it. That tooth was not ready to come out. I essentially like busted all the roots, and I pulled it out. I was like, I am also not gonna have my front teeth. That tooth took forever to grow in, and I seriously think that I somehow damaged my gum and how the next one grew in, because one of my teeth, like my front tooth, was like a little further out than the other one. It was like pressed forward more. So my teeth were jacked, okay? Like I definitely abused them, like trying to pull them out quickly, you know, tooth fairy money, come on, man. And I remember getting braces, and it sucked. And I was like, I don't like braces. I looked so dorky. Okay, braces were not cool. I got made fun of. They also hurt so bad. And I remember going to bed every night, because when you're a kid, you don't really have like a concept of time. And also like you think everything takes forever, right? And I had to have my braces on for like 2 years. Oh my gosh. That is like social suicide, okay? People would be like, how, like your boyfriend, you know, for first kisses, like very awkward stuff. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, like I cannot wait to get my braces off. I remember there was this one boy at my school who like, he was kind of cute, like flirting with me. This is middle school or high school or whatever. And I remember him saying, oh, when are you getting your braces off? And I was like, why? Because you don't like me now that I have braces? That's besides the point. But I just remember being so hurt because he was like, text me when your braces are off. I was like, how about you drop dead? No, I was very insecure about my braces. And every night I remember like lying in bed and just thinking about like my teeth like being brace free. And I remember visualizing how confident I would feel and how I would love my teeth and all these things. And while it was inevitable that I was going to get my braces off, right? You can't have braces forever. I still think that the visualization process was so powerful. I knew, like, I was confident then. Like, I've always been a very confident kid, but I would just remember like being so set on, as soon as I got my braces off, I was gonna be a force to be reckoned with. I was gonna be beautiful, whatever, like all of those thoughts that you have as a kid. I was gonna be like the girls I saw on 17 magazine or Sports Illustrated or any of the things. I was like, I want perfect teeth. And the day finally came where I got my braces off and I felt so beautiful. And I remember thinking, you know what? I have visualized this so many times, and real life was even more perfect than my imagination, than dreaming it. And so when you're thinking about dream boarding and thinking about your visions for the upcoming year, it's like, hey, like I actually can make this happen. And although in my brain at that time, like I know that my braces were gonna have to come off, I almost felt like I had made it happen. Because there's many times where kids didn't wear their rubber bands. Like I had to wear my rubber bands, and I remember like if I forgot to wear my rubber bands a couple times, I would put on like 7 or 8 bands on either side and wear those for like 3 days before my orthodontist appointment, hoping that it would like shift my teeth faster. I almost felt like me visualizing and dreaming made it happen, made me feel confident, made my teeth get straighter faster. Whether that is true or not, I don't care. It's what I'm believing. I made it happen. I made my teeth super straight. My confidence came. But yeah, I very vividly remembering how I was gonna look without braces. And I would run my tongue along like the sharpness of my braces, thinking, oh my gosh, one day I will be like feeling smooth, clean teeth. And I made it happen. So I really think that dream boarding, visualization is so important. And maybe you don't have the resolutions for yourself. You can still dream board. You can still have like an idea, and when you like have a dream board, when you have a dream journal, you're able to go back on it and you can look at them and remind yourself, oh, like this was so important to me. Is this still important to me? Do I want to remain with this goal? Do I want to continue on, or is this no longer important to me? Do I try something else instead? So I love to dream board, and it helps me just get in the mood, and it is so good. The next one is a digital detox. I think back to the last time that you had a day without social media or a day without your cell phone. I remember as a kid, there would be so many times where I didn't have my phone. I just didn't. I would spend my time doing other things. I would, forget for multiple hours. Oh, like someone texted me, and as an adult, I feel so much clarity when I have a digital detox, when I'm not listening to someone else's ideas or thoughts. Like right now, you're listening to me, which I'm so grateful for. But after this podcast episode, are you going to turn on another podcast episode? Are you going to turn on your TV? Are you going to turn on your radio? How much time do you have just for yourself and thinking about the things that you want to think about, or allowing any sort of creative to come into your brain? There's a saying like, your best ideas come in the shower, and usually that's because you don't have any technology in the shower. You might be listening to some music, but it's kind of muffled because it's over there on your, bathroom sink. But yeah, like a digital detox is really helpful when you're looking for any sort of clarity. The next one is deep cleaning your space. I deep cleaned my entire house. I put away all of my Christmas decor, and I deep cleaned my cell phone on deleting all the photos, right? So deep cleaning, or even like organizing or decluttering, can be so helpful when you're planning your intentions for the upcoming year. Another one is journaling. I think that journaling and, dream boarding or making a vision board kind of go hand in hand, right? And journaling can be used in different ways. Some people use journaling as this is what I did today, XYZ, and help them process like their day-to-day activities. Other people use it as things that they wish that they could do, like, their intentions. Some people use it as their to-do list for tomorrow. It doesn't, or they'll use random prompts on the internet, like, oh, write about your favorite fruit, and that's your journal prompt. So journaling can be so good for your brain, just to be creative, to get some thoughts down on paper. I love to journal, and even like a dump journal, like when you wake up and you just write everything that's on your brain, everything that you have to do today, can be so clarifying. Or even just like dump writing everything that you want 2024 to be. And then you can categorize it. And then once you have your categories of, okay, I wrote a lot about, I want to have breakfast every single morning. Now you can divide that into what kind of breakfast do I want to have every morning. And then you can make a grocery list, and then you can have a plan of, okay, I'm going to meal prep, right? Like that's how you can start getting your intentions for the upcoming year. Journaling everything down, putting them into categories, and then breaking down the categories even more into deliverable actions that are way easier to digest than, oh my gosh, we have this overarching goal to be absolutely perfect and I'm gonna level up in all areas, but how do I level up on all areas? What areas are actually important to me? And breaking them down in more bite-sized, manageable tasks. Another one is a self-care night. I know for me, the first of the year, January 1st, I won't be doing anything. I will be doing a social media detox. I will be putting my phone away. I will be journaling. I will be going to yoga with my best friend Kennedy. I'm so excited. I will be intentional with my movement and my thoughts. I'm gonna try to avoid watching TV. And I'm just kind of going to be with myself. I'm going to take care of myself the best way, and maybe to end out the night, I will watch one of my very favorite classic movies. I'm talking like early 2000s, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, 10 Things I Hate About You, The Breakfast Club, like any Mean Girls, I love those. Okay, any of that. I will be doing that. Journaling, just being really intentional with myself and not putting a lot of pressure. A self-care night can help with that. Putting on my big fluffy robe, taking off all of my makeup and putting on my best skincare, making myself a little cherry juice with magnesium, drinking plenty of water. Having a self-care night can really frame in what you're wanting to do, your intentions for the new year, and just having a better idea of, hey, like taking care of yourself. Those are all the things that I use to like prep for my new year, because right now I don't really have those crazy goals. I just want to trust my intuition. I want to go into it with an open heart and be really easy with myself. With that being said, I have made a ins and outs list. I see these all over social media. I love ins and outs. The State of the Union Golden Hour Drip ins and outs. So we're gonna rapid fire because we're gearing on the end of this episode. And so with our ins, I don't know if I want to do like all the ins and all the outs, or if I want to go back and forth because they're not like coordinating, right? Like if I said ketchup is in, mustard is out. They're not like that. Like they're all random. So bear with me. So number one for ins is friendship. Okay. Friendship is so big. Making those connections are so big. And I know with 2023, like I was very intentional with making friends, making connections. That's why I started the Golden Gal Network. Our next event is actually January 6th in Kansas City. So if you're interested in, meeting in real life or finding new friends in the Kansas City, Missouri area, you can definitely check out Golden Gal Network on Instagram, and tickets are live. So friendship is so in. Being a gal's gal is in. Not, isolating or anything like that. Because I felt that so much in 2020 and 21 that heck no. Friendships are in. Finding connection is so in. The next in is a daily walk. Moving your body. I talked about this in like prepping for the new year. I think that walking is so important. And as I get older, I can see how people start with a sedentary lifestyle. I want to remain active. I want to remain using my body. And so a daily walk will definitely help with that. I envision myself having like my cup of coffee. For Christmas, I got a Breville Bambino coffee machine for myself, and I've been loving a hot coffee. I still like my iced coffee, but I've been doing a hot coffee, and I know with these like winter months still to come, January, February, that's like hardcore winter for Missouri. I know that I'm gonna feel like so good when I have my little cup of coffee, and I could even go outside, go for a walk. That's so in. Decluttering is out. No, I'm just kidding. Decluttering is in. Decluttering is so in, and just having less, not necessarily having to buy the new thing on TikTok or social media, like decluttering and just freeing yourself from reorganizing and organizing and moving stuff. Like I don't like to do that. I'm going to be more intentional with my time. So decluttering is in. Now let's move to a couple outs. Being low maintenance is out. I feel like I've had so much like thoughts around, oh, just go with the flow. That is also out. Being go with the flow and low maintenance, because I tied those to like my people pleasing tendency. I was like, oh, don't worry about me. Like my feelings don't matter. Oh, I'm good. Go with the flow. Like whatever you want, I want. No, like in 2024, we are making what we want known. We are demanding what we want, and being low maintenance, like I just feel like low maintenance is equal to low vibration, low energy. Like we're not taking care of ourselves. I love to be high maintenance. I love to take care of myself in a way of like, oh, I'm gonna get a monthly facial or twice a month facial, whatever. Being high maintenance in the ways that make sense to you. Low maintenance might mean, oh, like low maintenance is like saving money. I'm not gonna go get a blowout. But you know, that really makes you happy and you want to have a blowout. So I'm done being low maintenance. I'm done going with the flow. This is not to be conflicting with other people. It's just when someone asks me, oh, like, what do you want for supper? I'm not gonna say whatever you want. I'm gonna be like, you know what? X, Y, and Z sound really, really good. Which one sounds good to you, right? Like not allowing someone else to direct the narrative, but directing the narrative yourself. And if you actually want something, to speak up for it. The next one is self-depreciating humor is out, okay? Your brain cannot tell if your like thoughts and ideas and what you say about yourself is real or false. It's just like hearing the words that you're saying and it's taking it at face value. So if you go, oh my gosh, like I am so dumb. No. Like we are done with the self-depreciating humor. It's not really that funny. It's like the lowest form of humor. We are going to be building ourselves up. Everyone is so negative. I say everyone, right? Like there's so much in this world that is super, super negative, and it's not great to add to that, right? Like you are in control of yourself. You are not in control of anything but yourself. So you can control being self-deprecating and instead building yourself up, right? Like you can only control yourself. Let's control ourselves in the best way possible and build ourselves up, and then instead of like tearing ourselves down, right? Like we get enough of that from the outside world. In splurging on skincare. I love to, take care of myself in this way of, making sure that my base is taken care of. I love makeup. I love to be girly, but I know that my skin is going to look so much better with makeup on when I'm taking care of it, when I'm getting a facial. I'm going and getting my first peel in the end of January. I'm so excited for that, right? Like I've done many beauty procedures. Like I'm excited about it. It makes me happy. Very, very in. The next in is reading at a normal pace. Oh my gosh, I am so tired of seeing all of these book hauls, and it's like 50 books, and they're like, oh, I read these in two months. And I'm like, that is insane. I feel like that is almost a version of fast fashion. Like people are just writing books so quickly, and it's not any like sort of really good plot. Like I don't know. I want to normalize reading at a normal pace, and I read for pleasure. And so when I see all of these like read 30 books in 30 days, that would be a book a day. That's insane. But just like reading at a normal pace, like picking a book and reading it, like not necessarily having a challenge to get through so many books. Okay, can we normalize just reading books at a normal pace? That would make me so happy, and I would love that. Okay, I would absolutely love that. The next out is excessive caffeine. I love caffeine, I love a good coffee, but I think it's important to know your boundaries around caffeine and not drinking a cup of coffee all day, right? Like not sipping on it all day. That's bad for your teeth, actually bad for your gut. And if you're gonna have coffee in the morning. You don't need 7 cups of coffee a day, and just like excessive caffeine. I used to really like the Celsiuses or like the other energy drinks, and I'm moving away from that. I want natural energy, like in my body, just, hey, we're high energy today, you know? The next in is Friday nights, staying in. I love Friday nights, and I think that they are actually like the perfect day of the week. I've been craving the slowness of a Friday night and staying in, and like it's a double bonus if my house is clean, right? Like, and I can just like curl up in front of the TV or curl up with a book that I'm reading at a normal pace, not super fast. But just like the easiness of a Friday night and knowing that Saturday morning I'm gonna have a full day of like no like real expectations. I might have things that I want to do, but like I have a full day Saturday, a full day Sunday, and the Friday night, like I could stay up and I could sleep in on Saturday. Like a Friday night is just, it's in. I love Friday night, and I also like it when I'm not going out and I'm not like staying up crazy late, like running around. I just love a Friday night in. It's so in for me, right? The next one is a dinner party. I love hosting friends. I like having friends over, and the community and connection with a dinner party. It's like a very intimate setting. You're sharing a meal with someone, and not necessarily like meeting out for a meal. Instead, meeting in. I think that restaurants, of course, like they are trying to make as much money as possible. The waitress is there, they're trying to make their tips. I don't want to take up a table more than like, you know, the adequate time to eat a meal. And I think that sometimes meetings can be really rushed. It's like, all right, like we have to eat, we have to meet, we have to leave. And a dinner party is at your own home, so you get to control the narrative, you get to control the time, and to have friends over, and maybe you make the meal. And I just, overall, I think dinner parties are so cute, and if you curate them, like they can be a lot of fun. So that is definitely in for me. The next out is leaving stuff in the drafts. There's so many times where I've wanted to do something and I have felt like comparing myself to other people, other creatives, comparing, you know, myself to what I used to look like in the past, or what will people think if I post this, and I'm just done leaving things in the draft. Like if I am really passionate about something, if I make like a really cute post or whatever, and I'm nervous about posting it, like I am over leaving it in the drafts. We are hard posting. We do not care what other people think, and we are just doing what feels right for ourselves. And we are no longer feeling afraid, right? Like we are stepping out as confidently as possible. The next out is screen time before bed. I'm trying so hard to curate an evening and morning routine for myself, and I just want some space before bed that is not completely like paying attention to what other people want. And it's like the separation from the noise. I just want a really easy, really nice nighttime routine. So no screen time before bed. The next out is procrastinating. We are doing things when we need to get them done so then we can enjoy the next chapter, right? Like we're not worried about, oh my gosh, like I should be doing this, but I don't have any motivation. It's always better to get the thing done and have it out of the way than, oh, like I really should be doing this, but I'm not, right? Like procrastination is totally out. The next in is complimenting strangers. I There was 2 instances like in the past like couple months where someone has like talked to me. They're like, oh my gosh, I really love this, or where did you get this? Like that conversation, those like little what is it, like meet cutes, but not really, like we're not gonna date or anything, but it's these interactions with random people. I love it so much. And if you can open up that conversation by interacting with someone and saying, oh, I love your shoes, and like creating that conversation, absolutely. And every single day is the best of the best. The next one is a rest day. A rest day is totally in. I want to make sure that I'm recuperating, I'm recharging, and there's been so many times where I'm like, okay, every single day I have to be getting all of this done, and not having any space for rest. It kind of goes hand in hand with creating separation for my evening routine. So having a rest day and rotting on the couch, like that is okay to have a day where you're not doing anything. Maybe you're still like out and about, but you don't really have a prerogative. Those are so important for your overall mental health and so that you can come back better than ever. The next in is meditating and visualization. I don't meditate daily, but I know that when I am in Shavasana for my yoga, I love to just like sit there with myself, and it's a form of meditation, and I would love to incorporate that in my day-to-day. So I do have some alignment and some guidelines around meditation and kind of taking that quiet self, or taking that quiet time for myself throughout the day. I don't want you to get confused on when I'm talking about like rest days in the space. Like I think that working hard has been like stolen by hustle culture, and everyone was like, oh, hustle culture is so bad. I get that, but I still want to work hard. So for me, working hard is still in for 2024. I want to work hard on my goals and everything, but I'm not necessarily with like the hustle culture aspect, but I still believe in working hard. So when I'm talking about like taking a rest day or, having the guidelines around it, that doesn't mean that I'm taking my foot off the gas pedal. This does not mean that we are just chill. No. We are still working on our goals. We are still very, very high motivated people. We're chasing after that high self. It's just in a different vibration than, okay, we have to have it, right? Because I think that almost comes with like a scarcity mindset where you're like, I have to be perfect. I have to have all of this. I don't like that energy. It's desperate energy, right? And I want it to be attracted to me, right? Like the things that I want to get it with ease, still working hard, but not necessarily this like super, super frazzled. I always envision like a bug-eyed rat, like salesperson, like, oh my gosh, like you have to do the, no, like I'm, I'm not with that. Okay. Like I am attracting the things that are meant for me, but I'm still working hard along my goals. And my last out is saying yes when you mean no. I definitely had to take it into consideration when people ask me for things. They're like, oh my gosh, you would be perfect for XYZ. Can you do it? Like really thinking, if this person was not asking me to do this, would I actively seek out this opportunity? And that has been a game changer for me, and thinking, okay, like, do I feel the need to just say yes because they're asking me and I want to people please? I want to, make them feel good, make me feel good, not have the conflict. Or, hey, like, is this actually meant for me? No, probably not. If I'm saying yes to something that I really want to say no to, I'm now saying no to the things that I actually want. So saying yes when you mean no is absolutely out. We are not people pleasing. If the opportunity is not something that we would actively seek besides them asking us in this moment, we are out, okay? So those are my ins and my outs and kind of like my expectations for 2024. And like I said, I am allowing the things to come to me. I am not having this like rat race mentality. I am not balls to the wall. Like there are definitely some intentions and goals that I have for 2024, but it's definitely going to be a different year than it has in the past. So thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I'm wishing you well in the year 2024, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!